So, folks, I was made aware of a really interesting Reddit investigation, and normally I wouldn't talk about this. However, I will say this is pretty interesting. And basically, Gadget Review brought this to my attention, and I know I don't know much about this website, but these are some pretty explosive claims. Reddit user uncovers who is behind Meta's $2 billion lobbying for invasive age verification tech. And so you know what? Let's go look at it. I traced 2 billion in nonprofit grants and 45 states of lobbying records to figure out who's behind the age verification bills. The answer involves a company that profits from your data, writing laws that collect more of it. So this is just pretty interesting stuff. I've been pulling public records on the wave of age verification bills moving through U.S. state legislatures. IRS 990 filings, Senate lobbying disclosures, state ethics databases, campaign finance records, corporate registries, Whois lookups, Wayback Machine archives. What started as curiosity about who is pushing these bills turned into documenting a coordinated influence operation that, from a privacy standpoint, is building surveillance infrastructure at the operating system level, while the company behind it faces zero new requirements for its own platforms. You might have thought that, hey, guess what? When we covered this, it does seem really goony. It seems really goofy that, hey, why are all of these operating systems being required by law to have age verification tech built into their architecture? Wherein, if you boot up your operating system for the first time, it is mandated by law that you put in a bunch of information about yourself. That seems really weird, right? So this particular person managed to track this down, right? What the bills actually require you to hand over. So age checks at device startup is kind of like the tip of the iceberg here. As it gets more in depth, right? A person or entity that develops, licenses, or controls the operating system software on a computer, mobile device, or any other general purpose computing device. Every OS provider must then provide an interface at account setup collecting a birth date or age and expose a real-time API that broadcasts the user's age bracket under 13, 13 to 15, 16 to 17, 18 plus to any application running on the system. Every app on your device gets to query a system-level API that returns your age bracket in real time. This isn't age verification at the point of accessing restricted content. It is a persistent age broadcasting service baked into the operating system itself, queryable by every installed application. So, effectively, what this means is that it's not verifying your age, it is broadcasting your age. And when you have to ask yourself, who actually stands to benefit from technology that accurately, relatively, broadcasts the age of the account user to every app that is installed on it? Who stands to benefit? Perverts? Well, maybe, but who stands to financially benefit? It's it's companies that rely on advertising. Like it is essentially, if you have these OS operating systems broadcasting, it means that they can different companies can target their advertising directly to your account. Not just like one general account for a computer where who knows what kind of person, what demographic data they are advertising to. They get to advertise specifically to you. They can advertise toys to 13 under accounts. They can advertise, cars to those who just turned 18. They can advertise all kinds of different things far more accurately than having to buy up a bunch of data from different information brokers. They can cut out the middlemen who are currently consolidating all of your data in a million different forums that get traded around all the time. And instead, they can just get it directly from your computer as it's legally required to divulge your demographic data. Yeah, demographic data served on a silver platter, essentially, exactly. But not only that, who else stands to benefit from this, right? So let's just keep looking at this here. Colorado SB 26051 copies the same definitions in the same order, same penalty structure, same exemptions. The template is the ICMEC Digital Age Assurance Act, and it's been introduced or is pending in Illinois, New York, Kansas, South Carolina, Ohio, Georgia, Florida, and at the federal level. New York's goes further. It requires device manufacturers to perform commercially reasonable and technically feasible age assurance at device activation and explicitly bans self-reporting. The AG picks the approved methods. That means biometric age estimation or government ID verification before you can use a device you purchased. Exemptions in all of these bills cover broadband ISPs, telecom services, and physical products. None contain any exemptions for open source software, non-commercial projects, or privacy-preserving verification methods. So that's all really insane, right? However, who wrote this legislation? Representative Kim Carver, Republican from representing Bossier City, the sponsor of Louisiana's HB 570, publicly confirmed that a Meta lobbyist brought the legislative language directly to her. The bill, as drafted, required only app stores, Apple and Google, to verify user ages. It did not require social media platforms to do anything. Meta deployed 12 lobbyists across 9 confirmed firms for this single bill, paying at least $324,992, described as very conservative estimate. The confirmed firms include Pelican State Partners, who also lobby for Roblox, letting Meta frame this as a broad industry support rather than one company's project, Adams and Reese LLP, the #1 ranked Louisiana government affairs firm, and State Capital Solutions. And so basically, right, you have Meta lobbyists going state by state, putting out there essentially this plan, which one would give user data on a silver platter to basically any company that gets an app on your phone, or any company that gets an app or any kind of program installed on your computer, right? Is again completely sidesteps information brokers, middlemen, etc., and just directly creates a line between your device and every single one of the companies out there in the world. What this would mean also is that there is, again, penalties for trying to get around this type of verification, right? So when we're talking about penalties, you have $25,000 per child for negligent violations and $7,500 for intentional ones. So even if you're like, well, I'll just go around it, keep in mind, you could be racking up thousands upon thousands of dollars in fines for doing so. This is pretty disgusting stuff. But it's also designed specifically from Meta to attack their competitors. It is designed to say, well, Meta's a social networking site. Google and Apple, they're different. So they should be under these regulations. Well, we are not at all beholden to any of this privacy stuff. Meta can work on making a product people want to use instead of AI sludge. No. That would be too much work. That'd be too much work, too much money. But it goes on. Nicole Lopez, Meta's Director of Global Litigation Strategy for Youth, testified at the House Commerce Committee in support. She also testified in South Dakota for a similar bill. She's Meta's national point person for these laws. HB 750 passed unanimously at every stage. So why did Meta need 12 lobbyists? Because the votes were never the concern. The lobbyists were there to control the text and block amendments. The key amendment battle came from Senator Jay Morris, who expanded the bill to include app developers alongside app stores after Google's senior director of government affairs publicly questioned why Mark Zuckerberg is so keen on passing these bills. When Morris introduced his amendment, Meta went silent. The conference committee compromise maintained dual responsibility but kept the primary burden on app stores, which is what Meta wanted from the start. So, it's real fucking weird, guys. It gets even weirder. There's another part of this, the advocacy group that doesn't legally exist. The Digital Childhood Alliance presents itself as a coalition of 50 plus conservative child safety organizations, later inflated to 140 plus, though only 6 have ever been publicly named. It's been testifying in favor of these bills across states. Here's what public records show about its legal status. All 4 regional extracts of the IRS exempt organization's business master file, which cover every tax exempt organization registered in the United States, DCA is not there. No EIN exists for this organization. I searched for incorporation records in Colorado, DC, Delaware, and Virginia, plus Open Corporates, ProPublica, Nonprofit Explorer, GuideStar, Charity Navigator. No incorporation record exists in any of them. The ECA's domain was registered December 18th, 2024 through GoDaddy with privacy protection and a 4-year registration. The website was live and fully formed 1 day later. Professional design, statistics, testimonials from Heritage Foundation and NCOSE staff, ASAA talking points already loaded. This is not a grassroots launch. This is a staging deployment of a pre-built site. 77 days later, Utah's Senate Bill 142 became the first ASAA law signed in the country. So, yeah. Basically, everything about these, digital age verification laws is completely and utterly bullshit. Like, no real people are actually trying to make this happen. Like, it's just lobbyists. It's just money in politics. And like, we're only talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. However, Hilltop Public Solutions, a Democratic consulting firm, shows up in 3 distinct contexts. 1, co-leads ATEP, Meta's $45 million bipartisan super PAC. 2, involved in DCA's messaging coordination per investigative reporting. And 3, connected to Forge the Future, the downstream Texas PAC, with age verification aligned policy priorities. So basically, then we move into like this stage where like the dark money is just flowing around these PACs and these super PACs and mixing together with all kinds of other money. But those hundreds of thousands of dollars become tens of millions of dollars, right? It gets genuinely insane. Here we go. I parsed the IRS Form 990 Schedule 1 filings across all 5 Arabella entities. That's 4,433 grants totaling approximately $2 billion. I searched for every child safety, age verification, and tech policy organization I could identify. 0 matches. The Schedule 1 grant pathway is definitively ruled out. If Meta money flows through this network, it would have to travel via fiscal sponsorship, consulting fees, or non-grant payments, which are inherently less transparent. The Eichberg connection matters not because it proves a pipeline, but because the person receiving Meta's lobbying payments chairs the governance structure of the largest anonymous donor-fueled advocacy network in U.S. politics. And that structural overlap is documented regardless of whether money moves through it. Meta's own Horizon OS, powering Quest VR headsets, already has Meta account age verification, a get age category API, family center parental controls, Quest storage age ratings, and default minor account protections. I scored Horizon OS at 83% compliance readiness with these mandates. Meta is not opposing these bills. In Colorado, I pulled lobbying records from the Secretary of State, SOTA API, and found Meta's 4 registered lobbyists on SB 26, listed in a monitoring position, not amending, not opposing, watching. On every social media regulation bill in Colorado, Meta takes an amending position, actively fighting challenges. Across 117 lobbying records on 22 bills, the one bill putting the burden on OS providers, Meta's position is monitoring versus amending. So, it's pretty interesting, right? It's pretty fucking interesting. You know, I do encourage you all to read the full thing because this is frankly insane. It makes a whole lot of sense. Because I have not seen any actual person be like stepping forward and saying, well, age verification on an OS level is a good idea. There's no one I have ever seen say that or advocate for that. Like, it is interesting as hell, and I think that I think that there are a lot of things that Meta stands to gain here. And obviously the root of all of this is related to Citizens United and the allowance of corporate money to just flow straight through all this shit. Like, the reason Meta is able to funnel billions of dollars to make this legislation a reality is because Citizens United exists. Because the Supreme Court ruled that money is speech and therefore protected. You can use your speech, aka your money, in political races. No one can stop you. It's a really dark future, and I really don't know. I really don't know where this goes from here, because it does really seem that on a state by state basis so far, these bills have hit remarkably little resistance. So my entire point with this is just to say, call your elected representatives. Do it right now if you can. Call your elected representatives and tell them, hey, this is coming from Meta. This is coming from Facebook. They are deliberately trying to poison the entire information ecosystem, the entirety of the internet, the entirety of digital space in order to make it benefit them. And it's disgusting. It is repellent. It is actively an infringement on your rights. And one of the like we need to start pushing for digital protections that actually matter. Control over our data. It should not be that all of our devices are at the whims of advertisers. It should not be that all of our devices are locked into Facebook's ecosystem. It should not be this way. And I really want you all to understand, you need to reach out to your elected officials. It is imperative that you do so. It's the only way you can motivate them to do anything these days. You got to be irritating as hell. And also, we have to push them, much like the European Union did, which, to be fair, is not perfect. But the European Union actually has protections on individual data, right? It actually prevents companies from doing things with your data or collecting your data at all. You need to bully your officials into actually giving a damn and protecting you as their constituent. So that is what this is all about. I encourage you all to check out this piece. It's bleak out there, folks. It is bleak out there. For the record, there is data attached to the Reddit post. We'll include this Reddit post in the description so everyone can check it out. But yeah, this is the kind of shit that keeps me up at night. Like, just the billions and billions and billions of dollars flowing are all around us like a fucking maelstrom to try and trap us and pin us all down. And it is it's scary. It is scary. And the only way we win this fight is by fighting it together. So I hope you will all join me and reach out to your elected officials. So if you need help figuring out how to do that, use !organize in chat. You will get a link to 5calls.org and fax0.com. You can use both of those to get the contact info for your elected officials. You can even fax them for free with fax0.com. And organize, folks. Organize. Join your local Democrats, join your local DSA. We need folks to actually be in the room and pushing for change. You know, if you are unsatisfied with your elected officials' response to your advocacy, then join your local Democratic Party and advocate to the people who make up the structure of the party itself. Win them over, and so goes the party. So That is our goal right now, okay? So if you want to join your local Dems, jump in our Discord, reach out to Dragonfly, or you can find Dragonfly oftentimes over on riverboat.gg. And also, folks, we need people organizing the working folk in their communities. So join your local DSA. If you need help with that, join our Discord, reach out to GamerG. You can also find GamerG oftentimes over on riverboat.gg. So either of those work, go do something. Do anything. Do something for the love of God, please. And with that, folks, if you got anything out of this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I just thought this was really important. I think more people need to know about this. And also, folks, last but not least, check out ImogeneOlivia.com, gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes, tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks as well. And it's super comfortable, it's super sexy, and also it fits. It actually fits. And check it out. It is non-tucking lingerie. Link down in the doobly-doo. Let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is going to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube is where she streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Her sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat Jack.